Alrighty, so moving right along, let's go ahead and close our eye left and eye right. And I'm going to shy my blink control. I don't need that for right now. And I'm going to open up all of my layers. And I want to do the brows now. So I want to make sure that she can express herself. So we're going to be messing with the rotation, and we're also going to be messing with the position. So we'll have two controls going at once. And I'm going to click on brow left and brow right, and I want to unshy those. And for all of these eye layers, we can shy them now. And so let's go ahead and close everything off. So now we should just have brow left and brow right showing. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and go into Duik. Let's click on back, and we want a new 2D slider. We actually want two because I want her to be able to express differently with different eyebrows, her two different eyebrows. So I'll drag the first one out. I'm going to shrink that down quite a bit. I'll hold shift so that it is scaling uniformly. And I think what I want is something a little bit smaller than my eye, maybe a little bit bigger actually, so that she has a lot of control. And I'm going to unlock some of these so I can move them around a little. And where they are isn't too particularly important. All right. And then I'll make a second one of these sliders. So I'm going to rename this one. I'll say press enter and rename this brow. That'll be her right. And let's do a new slider. So we'll click back, slider. Kind of scale it down so that it matches the other one. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything. All right. And I'm going to call these sliders brow left. I want to add some labels for those as well. So I'm going to copy and paste the eye look again. And what you can do, in fact, is copy it and Control Shift V. Oh, I guess that doesn't work here. Copy and paste them. And we'll copy and paste that one too. And I want to call this brow right. And this one brow left. And even though this is on the left side of my screen and this is the right side of my screen, because the brows are labeled right and left, I want them to be consistent with her point of view. I want them to be following that standard. So let's go ahead and lock all of these. I want to make sure that my labels are labeled properly as well. So silly. There we go. Brow right, brow left. And everything should be good to go now. Let's just put them where they belong. And I want to lock my text layers and my controller backgrounds. Text, controller background, text, controller background. And you can see that from the text icon here or CVG, controller background. And let's go ahead and close all of those. And I want to hide the controller background options as well. I don't need them and I don't want them to be in my way. All right, so now we need to set up the controls for our browse. So let's go ahead and click on both of these. I want to click on position and I'm going to scroll to one frame and click on the stopwatch. I'm going to press S on my keyboard and set the, not the scale. Press R on your keyboard will set the rotation. And then if you press U on your keyboard, now you have only the keyframes that are operational right now. So that for us is the position and rotation since we just set those stopwatches. And note that these are their default positions. I haven't changed anything about them yet. Let's open up Duik and we want to zero out these positions again. So we'll go ahead and add 0 to those and add 0 to those. I missed one. There we go. So now everything should be zeroed out. If we move over one frame, let's go ahead and separate our positions. So we'll right click and say separate dimensions and separate dimensions. Rotation can't be separated, so don't worry about that. All right, so for the X position, that's going to be our left, right. And really we don't need anything happening with our left, right so much. So we can even unchoose that stopwatch. We want it to be 0, 0 the whole time. For the Y position, we want that to go up and down so that she's expressing excitement or frustration, right? I want to lock this because I keep clicking on it and I don't want to move it by accident. I think it should be up here. That should help a little bit. And I'm going to lock the head layer too, just to make it easy on myself. There we go. So we'll click on the brow and we want to move it up for, up is our 0, 0 frame and down is our O2 frame, right? So let's go ahead and move that up over here. And keep an eye over in your positions. So I think that probably negative 2.5 would be better just because it's kind of into the bangs now. That might be a bit high even. Let's just do negative 2. Yeah, maybe if it's just touching, but I don't want it inside the hair. So let's do that on the top as well, minus 2. And if we scrub over to 2 frames, we should be able to set positive 2. And they don't have to be reflections of each other. It just makes it easier because that means R00 is on 1 frame or frame 1. So now the height of her eyebrows and the depths of her eyebrows, I think that it could go a little bit lower, but if we rotate it, let's see how that goes. So if she's frustrated, I want this right side of my brow to say that this represents it turning to the right. And the left side of my box, I want that to say that it represents the brow turning to the left. So let's just check and see. That looks like positive 20, and we'll try negative 20 just to be even. I don't like that. We'll do negative 10. And let's go ahead, and when I have it to the left, I want the rotation to be, I want the rotation to be up, like she is sympathetic. So we'll set that to negative 10. Oh, we want positive 10 since it's the other direction. Positive 10. And so now that should be about the same, and we'll slide over to the right and we'll say negative 20 over here. So now she's frustrated, she's angry, she's determined. And I think from that result, I think I want her brow position for the low space to be just a little bit lower. So I'll set that to 3 instead. And I'm changing it where my time slider is. So if my time slider was here, but I clicked on this, it's still affecting this control, this keyframe. So now we should have her looking sympathetic and up, and mild, nothing, content, right? And then maybe angry, determined at the right. All right, so let's go ahead and get our position set up. So we only want for brow L, that's going to be this one, that's going to be this controller. We're going to click on this control and let's go into do it. Let's click back so that we're on the right controller. And with that selected, we'll say pick control. All right, so we want to set first the Y position on the Y axis because we want as it goes up and down to be controlled just by this. So we will set the properties. We've got Y position selected on just brow left. I'm going to click properties. And now that turns red. Now that's being controlled by our controller. So if I move that up and down, it should go up and down with the control. If I move left and right, nothing's happening right now. So we need to go into rotation. We'll set this to X and click properties. And now, as we move it down, up, whoa. So we should be able to control the rotation now based on what direction that the controller is moving in. Sorry that I don't have a whole lot of memory right now with the video rendering, but she can be up, sympathetic, down, still sympathetic, right, determined, up, kind of suspicious, I would say, but we're going to set it back to 0. Just Control Z back to it. All right, so let's go ahead and do the same thing with brow right so that the side can emote as well. So we will select our controller. We're going to click on our dot, go into do it, click back, and choose pick controller. That way we're on brow right now. So it should say that in our kind of trail as well, controller brow right. If it says brow left, you've made a mistake. Go ahead and click on the Y position, set the axis to Y, and click properties. That should turn red, and let's do that with the rotation as well. Click on the X controller, click properties, and that should turn red now. So now, let's go ahead and make a tiny animation. I'm gonna close these up. I'm gonna click on both of these and click position, and I'll just make a little bit of an animation. Make it go down. So now we have our eyebrows moving around based on our controls. Alrighty, so I'm going to undo all of that. I want one more thing out of my controllers though, so let's go ahead and click on U to show the controls that we have set. And I want to edit these. I want them to be eased in, eased out. So we can click on this animation controller, or we can press F9 on our keyboard and change those settings to ease in, ease out. That way we have as much control over everything as possible. That should handle the brows. So now we have a look at. She's going to follow her eyes around. We have a bit of control there. Alrighty. Next, what we want to do is move her face around, which is going to take a little bit longer, but let's go ahead and get started.